So the title of my presentation is Malaria, Shaken Not Stirred. So the University of Washington has developed a unique data visualization tool that shows the disability-adjusted life years within the United States. The blue areas represent non-communicable diseases, such as stroke or COPD and drugs. And the drugs indicate the opiate epidemic, and it's darker because it's been increasing over the years. The lighter colors indicate that these problems are going down and the burden of these diseases are going down. In the upper right-hand corner, you see the color red, and that represents communicable diseases such as HIV and lower respiratory infections. And in the lower right-hand corner, the green represents injuries such as motor vehicle accidents and self-harm such as suicide. So the disability-adjusted life years are the years of life lost for individuals living in the United States. This is in Sub-Saharan Africa. Notice that all of the non-communicable diseases shifted to the left, and the majority of years of life lost are due to communicable diseases that could be prevented, such as HIV, lower respiratory infections, neonatal infections, diarrhea diseases, and right in the middle we see malaria. This is a heat map of Plasmodium falciparum, which is the most common type of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa. The red areas indicate that 3 out of 4 people get malaria in these areas every year, where the blue areas indicate 1 out of 10 people get malaria in these areas every year. You can see the higher rates of incidence are located in West Africa and throughout Central Africa. Malaria is very close to my heart. Not only have I personally had it, I lived in Ghana in 2014 to 2016 when I was serving as an education volunteer in the Peace Corps. My secondary project was to create malaria stencils and provide malaria educations to communities across Ghana and put up these stencils that had messages of malaria prevention, such as sleeping under a mosquito net. So how does someone get malaria? You have to be bitten by a mosquito, right? The only type of mosquitoes that bite humans are pregnant mosquitoes. And those with malaria need at least 2 blood meals in order for them to lay their eggs. So what are mosquitoes attracted to? They're attracted to a few things. The first, foremost, they're attracted to your blood so that they can take their meal. Second, they are attracted to your sweat at low concentrations. If you are sweating at high concentrations, your sweat can actually act as a repellent. So if you're going to be sweaty outside, make sure you're very sweaty. They're also attracted to your body temperature, so the warmer you are, the more likely you are to be bitten by a mosquito. And the amount of carbon dioxide that you emit. And this is not just the carbon dioxide that you exhale, it can also be emitted from your skin. And mosquitoes are attracted to you when you consume alcohol. We are still researching this, and we have a feeling that it's also correlated with all of these other factors as well. There was a study done in Japan in 2002 where they gave just 1 beer to some volunteers. They measured the amount of mosquitoes that landed on these volunteers before they consumed alcohol and after they consumed alcohol, just that 1 beer. There was a 27% increase in the number of mosquitoes that landed on these individuals. The researchers then split the participants into 2 groups. One group that were alcohol tolerant or consumed alcohol frequently or excessively, and the other group in which those people really ever drank, if anything at all. And they found that those who were alcohol tolerant were more attracted to mosquitoes and had more mosquitoes landing on them. So for some reason, mosquitoes are more attracted to those who drink alcohol more frequently, opposed to people who rarely drink. In 2010, another study was published that also looked at the number of mosquitoes that were attracted to those after consuming just 1 beer. In this study, they also included participants who consumed water as well and looked at the difference. They measured 2 mosquito factors. The first, orientation, and the second, activation. Mosquitoes were activated if they flew upwind through the contraption that the researchers built. And once they were activated, if they oriented themselves to those who consumed alcohol or those who consumed water. What they found was that there was a 70% increase in mosquitoes being oriented to those who consumed just that one beer. Most bars are located outdoors in sub-Saharan Africa, which doesn't provide a barrier from protection from the outside and from mosquitoes. When you are drinking, you have a lowered awareness that mosquitoes may land on you, and if they do land on you, you're not going to be able to swat them away, or you may not even notice that they're there. And just like in the United States, people like to enjoy drinking at night or at dusk, which is the prime feeding time for mosquitoes who carry malaria. After you have just one sip of alcohol, your blood dilates, warms up, and moves to the surface of your skin. So therefore, just that one sip of alcohol is all it takes to increase your risk, if not just slightly. This past summer, I worked on a research project with my advisor where we looked at all the different types of substances that were currently being used in sub-Saharan Africa by country. This map is the alcohol per capita consumption per country. And there are a few countries, Nigeria, Namibia, South Africa, and Uganda, that have high rates of alcohol consumption, up to 11 liters of pure alcohol per person per year. Now, only 30% of those living in sub-Saharan Africa consume alcohol. However, and we know that most of them are males. So my idea was to see, okay, we know where there is high or heavy alcohol prevalence, and we know where the malaria incidence rate is. What if we combine the two factors to determine where alcohol could be contributing to malaria incidence rates? So I developed what I call an alcohol impact factor. I combined the alcohol prevalence and the malaria incidence rate map and targeted areas in which alcohol could be contributing to these incidence rates. The darker areas, such as Nigeria and in West Africa, are where the alcohol use could be contributing. What needs to be done next is perhaps an observational study comparing different areas or those who consume alcohol versus those who do not, and compare their incidence rates. This is one of my favorite students in front of one of my favorite murals in front of the library that I worked at in my community. The mural says you can prevent malaria, sleep under a mosquito net, and it has a country of Ghana. It has the country of Ghana with the Ghanaian flag inside of it. There's also a cute stencil next to it that says "Fight the Bite," and it's shaped like a mosquito. So usually these murals take about 2 days or 1 day to put up, but this mural took me 2 days because of an incident that occurred. Before I moved to this community, they decided to build a bar right next to the junior high school. And so there were 2 men that approached me on a Sunday afternoon while I was doing this, painting the mural. And they were very friendly. Hi, what's your name? How are you? Where are you from? What are you doing? And then their questions started to get a little aggressive, and I knew that they had been drinking. They began to spill alcohol on me. They began to spill alcohol in my paint. And I realized that I needed to finish the mural another day, so I packed up my things and I left. I find it interesting now that not only were they preventing the malaria education that we were trying to conduct, they were also drinking, which could have be impacting the malaria incidence rate in a country where 1 in 5 deaths are attributable to malaria. Thank you.